But the thing I like about Torrens is really good knack for getting the fat part of the bat on the ball. And it sounds simple. It sounds like we're playing wiffle ball out back with that orange-red bat that has the huge barrel. And it's like almost most of the length of the bat. And you get this little white ball. And it's so easy. It sounds simple, but it's not. Because there are a lot of folks, a lot of hitters out there who have trouble doing that. I mean, think about guys like, and I'm not saying have trouble, but relative to those that do it very, very well, and Torrens seems to be one of those that do it very, very well. Think about somebody like, Ty France. Doesn't it seem like Ty France hits the ball really hard? He doesn't, though. Like sometimes he does, but on a consistent basis, no. You look at the average exit velocity, and no. And that doesn't mean he can't be a really good hitter and a dangerous hitter, and I think some of those doubles are going to turn into home runs. I think Ty France is a 20-homer guy. Kyle Lewis is another one who so far hasn't been a real high average exit velocity guy. Torrens already is, and I'm not saying he's better than either one of those guys. But that's a positive thing. That he connects. He doesn't swing and miss a lot. And that when he connects, he hits the ball really hard. That tells me his timing is on. He sees the ball really well. He picks it up. He's picking up spin. He's reading through at bats. He kind of understands what the pitcher's trying to do. Like there's some polish there. You know, maybe a little more polish offensively than I expected. I know it's been it's been a couple of weeks. It's been 15, 16 days. But still, talking about a young guy putting the barrel of the ball. When you square it up that consistently, there are things to like. And I think, I think what's going to happen is they're going to continue to work on Torrens' swing. And Andrew, you mentioned like his stance has changed. And I assume you meant swing because stance has very little to do with it. Because a lot of times if you look at because how he stands only matters if it helps him get to the ball, right? So it doesn't really matter what that looks like. You can have a weird crouch, you can have a closed stance, open stance. You can do some weird stuff like Tony Bautista back in the day when he almost stood facing the pitcher. As long as you can get the bat head to the baseball on a consistent basis and all over and cover the zone, you're fine. Whatever the stance looks like, who cares? I talk about hand position sometimes. And I talked about it the other night on Twitter with Evan White, who has the relatively low hand position. Now, it's not super low, and he's not bouncing his hands around. But hand position matters because wherever it is, when the ball is released, when the pitcher's going in motion, his arm's starting to move forward, that's what matters. Because that's when the swing is about to be triggered. So if a hitter is standing a certain way, what you want to do is when you're watching video is wait until the pitcher goes in motion and is about to release the baseball. Where is the hitter's hands? Where are his hands? Where are Torrens' hands? Where are Evan White's hands when he triggers the swing? So when you're watching video, who cares about the stance, really? Now, there are things that like a hitting coach might care about because it's going to help a hitter do a certain thing. But when you're looking at it in that kind of a raw element, look at where his hands are when the pitch is released. And then look at the swing path. And if it creates a problem with the swing path, then you know that maybe the hands are not in the right position. Now, I was looking at Evan White's his heat map, and he has problems at the bottom of the zone and the top of the zone. I mean, he has problems in some other spots, but severely bottom of the zone, severely top of the zone. That's a big problem. He either takes strikes at the bottom of the zone or swings through them, and that happens a lot at the top of the zone. So he's going to have to make some kind of an adjustment. And I was just kind of thinking out loud that maybe hand position is it. Now, what Torrens has done is simplify everything. Not move his hands around that much. Move his hands a little bit closer to the dugout instead of toward the pitcher or back toward the catcher and the umpire. It's a little bit more. It's kind of this north, south, east, west sort of thing. What the Mariners are probably going to do is try to get more doubles power out of him. He hits the ball hard, but probably a little bit too much on the ground. And if they can get him to hit a few more line drives or maybe create some loft like they've been helping Evan White do, like they've been helping Kyle Lewis do the last couple of years, that he's actually done very, very well without losing contact rate. That's another remarkable thing about Kyle Lewis is the last probably 14 months for Kyle Lewis has gone from severe ground ball guy where he was hitting like 60% ground balls, hitting them hard, but still hitting them on the ground, to a guy that's hitting more line drives, hitting more fly balls, and he hasn't sacrificed plate coverage or contact. Well, a guy like Torrens, really all you want to do is just kind of slowly, gradually help him create more backspin, more loft on the ball. So when he hits the ball 97 miles an hour, and when he hits the ball 100 miles an hour, more of those are extra base hits. That's the damage somebody can do that hits the ball as hard as Torrens does. So, I'm not saying he's a big 30 homer guy, but we could see a guy who can hit 260 to 280, get on base a little bit, hit a bunch of hit 30 doubles, and maybe hit 15 home runs. That's a really good player. And that player can last a long time if you have another catcher that can do some things enough to catch at least 40% of the time. And I think that's what Jerry DiPoto and staff are trying to set themselves up for by getting good with drafting and developing catchers. They got some guys down in the minors right now, Carter Binns, Matt Scheffler. Those guys might turn into really good kind of 40% catcher types. There's some hit tool there with both of those guys. They both have swing issues, but there's some hit tool there with both of them. So really excited to see what happens with the catcher group Seattle is building, and you always want to look to add to it. So it certainly wasn't surprised that a catcher was involved in that San Diego deal, and really any deal that any club makes when you're trying to find catching, because it's so difficult to find. You try to draft it. Drafting prep catchers is really tough. Signing Latin American catchers is really tough. I mean, Torrens, not even a natural catcher. He's playing a lot of third base as a 14, 15, 16-year-old. He dabbled in catching, and now he's catching full-time, and he actually looks pretty good at it.